Well, welcome to another episode of Low Gear, and with me is Gavin Abbott. And Gavin, welcome to the show once again. And you're in the throes of another book?
Yes, I'm about 80% through so far.
So how many is this you've done so far?
Well, this will be my fifth on my own, and I did the first one with Graham Carter,
Oh, okay.
the direct transport story. And this one is on Hauraki Thames Valley.
So that'll be like the tour guys of my youth, and Thames and Netherton and Paeroa and
Waitakaruru, yes.
Miranda, I think they had carriers.
Yes. My father was a racehorse trainer, and in the early days he based himself at Paeroa at the racecourse there, and he stayed across the road at Harvey Evans's sawmill there, and Harvey Evans was a racehorse trainer as well. And I used to go there for holidays, so I went round Paeroa photographing all the trucks in the 40s. Wow. And then in later years, in the 50s, after I'd finished my time, my good friend Keith Talbot, his brother came back from the war, and he married one of the Richmond girls, and they had a property at Netherton, and they gave him a section, and they built a house there, and he drove for Sergeant's Transport. So I had holidays at Sergeant's Transport and took a lot of photos there.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I've built on to do this last book.
So you've done books and you've restored trucks, and so you've had a whole life of trucks.
Trucks, yeah. It's been my only interest, really. Barring my family.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now, what we've got here is a white 3000, and you were saying before that only 4 ever came to New Zealand.
Yes, there was.
And this is one of them.
This is one of the 4. The Cable Price were the agents for them, and they sold 2 to Uden Brothers in Pateru. They were logging contractors, and one went to Dick Twistleton in Gisborne on logging, and the 4th one went to T.P. Gilroy in Christchurch as a transporter. I was talking to Jim Uden many years ago, and he said that when they bought the first one, in the interim, the black budget came out in 1958, and the sales tax was increased, and Udens were of a second thought whether they would take the second truck because they were so expensive, and the price had gone up with the increase in sales tax. But they needed the truck, so they took it.
So did this come in from America, and they were prepared to pay all the extra money in 1958? Of course, you still only buy British.
Yes.
So they must have sort of spent a small fortune to have this particular truck.
They had been running the bonneted models and had a good run from them, so they standardised, because it was the same petrol motor in both models.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're saying this came out in 1949?
Yes.
And it's the first tilt cab in the world?
Yes, it was the first mass-produced tilt cab in the world, and it was quite a sensation because not only was it a tilt cab, but it was so far advanced. It had this aerodynamic shape. It had a big flat one-piece windscreen. No gutterings. There's no gutterings on the cab at all. And the pedals inside the cab were pendulum, which was a first. And the vent in the front there would open out and let the air in, and you could also get into the dashboard. So it had so much of modern thinking in it, but it was very expensive to build, and also it's lined inside with steel as well, and it was very heavy, and those 2 reasons were the downfall from it. But it set the pattern for tilt cab trucks.
I see in the little lunchbox area behind the seat, like the TK Bedford's got and a few other trucks, had the same thing, so a lot of people would have copied that.
That's right. See, that Bedford cab came about 10 years later, but it was styled off this style of cab.
Yeah.
And the aerodynamic shape, of course, was well advanced for that period as well.
Save you a few bucks.
Yes, it would have. Yeah.
Just looking at the step, and I've got a size 13 boot, and I put that on that step to get into the truck, and my whole boot sits on it. As opposed to some of the little, you only just get your toe on it to get into some trucks. So when this was available, I guess people went, wow, that's easy to get in and out of.
Yes, well, as I say, the smaller model came out and was mainly used for delivery trucks, and over the years they increased the model sizes into bigger trucks, but the smaller models did have Packard car engines in them, and then they increased them over the years. This is higher because this truck over the years had been repowered with a 671 GM motor. It had an automatic gearbox in it, and it was fitted with a Leyland back end. And they had to set the springs up for the extra weight of the engine, and that's why this is possibly a bit higher than normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's have a look in the cab. Very big steering wheel, very thin steering wheel, and there's actually a horn in the middle of it.
Yes, there was a horn in the middle with the white badge in the centre, and because no power steering, but it was very low geared.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, depending on a windy road, you'd be really working with this wheel all the way, because it was quite a number of turns from lock to lock.
Okay. We haven't come to power steering yet.
No, the big wheel was for the leverage, but it's a typical American truck. It was very low geared in the steering as well. You had to really wind around. It could have done with a spinner on it. But it's a very comfortable driving position and a very good view with the big flat windscreen.
You can still see that. It must have been almost a nightmare to all these round curved shapes to make factory. Maybe not.
You could understand that's where the cost came in, why the cab was so expensive. The original truck had the gear lever from the floor here, and it also had a 3-speed auxiliary box and had the 2 gear levers. They were on the floor, but it was all done by linkages, and over the years the linkages got worn, and it was a hit and hope gear change. When I put it together, I got an engine and gearbox out of one of Gibson's Motors buses from New Plymouth, and it only had a 4-speed box, so I cheated and put one of the modern remote gear levers up between the seats. Made it far easier.
And instrument panels, just a basic instrument panel?
Pretty standard.
Yeah.
It was it had a rev counter and a speedo and the fuel and petrol and oil and temperature gauge.
And this sort of demister arrangement, did that actually work?
Well, if you had the vent open underneath, this big screw here operated the vent in the front, and that was your air conditioning, and okay. It would no doubt come up to the top there. Yeah.
Well, certainly plenty of height for a driver of my size, but my guts would get in the way of that steering wheel. I can see that now.
Yes.
When it's almost touching yours. And
yeah, I'm not very big. And it was a 3-seater cab, which suited the delivery trucks in America.
So 2 guys, 2 offsiders to help. And that little parcel arrangement at the back there, I mean, there's plenty of room on that.
Yes, there's a good parcel rack there.
Yeah. A nice flat, I mean, Comma was trying to get this arrangement, just a flat floor on a cab over, so there's nothing between you and the...
No, it was a similar layout, the Comma, like the Comma with that flat floor.
Yes. Wow.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the little compartments that allowed you to sort of get a quick look at the engine, but then we'll go around the other side and see how she tilted. Given you were talking about just before turning the little knob and the vent open, is this whole panel the vent? That
panel opens out and you've got access to the gauges and dashboard, and also it acts as a fresh air entry.
That's thinking.
Yeah, that's well ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just looking, there's a gap in behind this grille, but the whole grille...
That all tilts, that's locked in. That tilts with the cab. That's part of the cab.
Let's have a look around the corner. There's another little innovation I thought was pretty good as well. Kevin, there's a little hinge here, which probably means this opens up.
Yes, that's the trapdoor opens, and you've got access down there to your dipstick.
Oh, okay, so there.
Check, and you can get access to the carburetor and that, for tuning the motor. And the other side door opens up and you've got access to your distributor with the small auxiliaries.
Thinking. And I think that you could do this with a Bedford, it's sort of lifted up.
Yeah, the Bedford one lifted up, but this one hinged, yes.
Thinking. Let's have a look at the back. Kevin, there's I guess this is what tilts the cab.
This is the control for the cab, and remembering that this whole truck, the system is still 6-volt system, and it is an electric screw tilt. It's got electric motor, and it operates a screw system, and this is the control for it. You pull the handle out and turn it to the right and undo the safety lock, and then the cab tilts up. And then to let it down, you just pull the lever out and turn it the opposite way, and that lowers the cab down.
So you can just hear a little motor going.
You can just hear the little motor going.
Wow.
And this was all designed back in 1949.
So the wires coming out of here is obviously what activates the engines?
That's it. It's all controlled by that switch there.
And the air cleaner, and is that a bit of oil reservoir or something on the back there? Or
That's the header tank for the radiator.
Yep.
The header tank, and of course the oil dipstick and filler is available through this side panel.
Wow.
This truck was originally had a 145 horsepower superpower motor. The truck had been repowered with a 671 GM, and it had an automatic gearbox and a Leyland Hippo back end. When I got it, I just got the chassis, cab and front axle. This motor came out of one of Gibson's Motors buses, as did the gearbox, and the back end I got from an international of Deersveld from Gisborne. The remote control was a modern one, because the original one was all linkages, and that was not very satisfactory at all.
So a linkage goes doink, 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 doink to get to where you have to go.
That's about it. Yeah, with many joints. Yeah.
Wow.
I struggled about 3 weeks trying to make something work, but it was hopeless. So I just put a modern remote one up top.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just looking at the width of this cab, when you think about a modern day Kenworth, there's not a great deal of difference, but this is built for 3 men, and you get one guy in a Kenworth, and then maybe you get a passenger on the other side, but you're very friendly, when you're travelling along.
It is fairly roomy for the size, considering it does look only a narrow cab.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess because of the size of those mudguards sticking out the side. Yeah.
Full width.
Full width. So we're walking backwards again down here. Is this the way the cab was? Have you put that in, the little hoop to cope with the...
No, that had been fitted in by Udens, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So was this a logger?
This one, well, they had two of them. One was on logging work and the other was on transporter work. And they sold the transporter one to Richard's Heavy Haulage. They ended up with that. And the other one ended up with a carrier in Pukekohe, and it was a semi-unit, and it had either I think they were pig farmers, and they had a tanker or a semi-trailer with a stock crate on it. And then it was sold back to Ray Vincent, and it ended up on the truck farm at Ohiniwai, slowly rotting away.
Wow. You might remember, folks, the story we did about Tom Gilroy's heavy haulage, and they had one of these, and I think it's towing a locomotive.
Yes.
I'll hunt through the photographs and just see if I can find that truck exactly like this, doing that locomotive pull. But I guess, like you was just saying before, if this has got an Arctic bum sitting on it, it's going to lift a bit of weight off that.
Off the front, yes.
Yeah, make it a bit easier to steer. But 4 came to New Zealand. It's great to see that one still alive. And I'm sure it goes if you...
Yes, yes. I drove it out to the beach a couple of times, and I drove it on the transporter when I sold it to Bert Watchorn for his museum 22 years ago, and I bought it back from him last month when he was disbanding his museum.
Wow.
So it's back home.
So is there another one in the country?
To my knowledge, there's no others.
No, the other three have disappeared.
The other three have, yeah, I followed the other three out, and one of them was wrecked on it was in a metal pitted tie happy, and that was cannibalised there. And the Dick Twistleton's one went to Eltham, and it was wrecked on a farm there, and I believe the chassis was used for a bridge on a farm.
Okay.
And they buried the cab in that. And I understand the chassis of Gilroy's may have been made into a crane chassis.
Oh, righto. We were just talking about that last weekend with Charlie Chamberlain about the amount of machinery and trucks and what have you that got buried back in the day. Like the electric trucks, Gordon Malcolm was talking about the electric trucks from the Waihoe Dairy Factory.
Waitoa Dairy.
And Waitoa, sorry, and they just buried them.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what happened to most trucks. Even when you look around today, where are all the Bedfords, all the Fords? They all seem to have disappeared, and all those 190 Internationals that were logging, and trucks are slowly disappearing, but the odd one is emerging in a shed somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Like this was deteriorating, lying in the truck farm at Ohenawai.
Wow. Well, it's good to see that this one survived, and congratulations, Gavin, on doing that. And of course, listen to other guys telling their stories. This was sitting in a bin waiting to go to the scrap, and we got it out and rescued it for
Yes.
and they need rescuing.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Anyway, your books, they're still available. This is the website you go to, folks, if you want to buy one of Gavin's books. You still sell them through that guy in Wanganui?
Yes, yes.
Or you can maybe just give Gavin a call, and you can talk trucks, talk books, and buy one.
Be pleased to hear from anyone.
Yeah, talk trucks, that's what they do.
That's what it's all about.
Good on you, mate.
Thank you.
Thank
Phil.
you very much once again.
Thank you, Linda.
So there you go, the old white 3000. Low Gear's sponsor is ProTrans Earth Moving. They are a Christchurch-based company and specialise in earth moving and demolition. They also specialise in remote control diggers for those jobs that have an element of danger. And they have a variety of special purpose trucks that can get into those hard to get to places. So if you have an earth moving or demolition job, check out ProTrans at www.protrans.com. On the 4th of November, we'll be leaving from Auckland to begin our 2017 Low Gear bus tour. Come with Linda and me as we travel the North and South Islands of this beautiful country, looking at some of the vehicles and machines you've seen throughout our Talking Trucks and Low Gear TV shows. This is a 2-week vintage and classic adventure, and we conclude this tour on the 18th of November in Dunedin. So if you or someone you know would like the ultimate trip down memory lane, give me a call on 09 536 5327 or email me at billhohipper@extra.co.nz, and for registration and more information just go to our webpage at www.lowgear.co.nz. So we look forward to hearing from you very soon. Welcome back. This next truck is quite unique, and I'm going to have a chat with Bruce Alexander about it.
It's a Lloyd Carrier diff, Lloyd Carrier front wheel, Bren wheels here, and Lloyd Carrier track.
Wow.
Lloyd Carrier track was narrower than the Bren track.
Oh, okay. Made for
See, normally with the Bren, there'd be another wheel back further. And the Lloyd Carrier had 2 of those before the sprocket. And I used that one because you can slide it to tighten the track. You just do a couple of, undo one nut and do it, the other one up, and
it just tightens it up a bit.
tightens it up. So I got the body pressed, the back body. That was a Bren Carrier mudguard we cut up. That's a Toyota fuel tank. And then the old shed 4x4. I made a new cover for over the motor, because that's a a V6 motor in there,
Wow.
automatic.
Wow. So why would you want a half track?
Oh, I don't know, just something different.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Just something
So you
different.
rode it around the farm, towed a trailer or two, that sort of thing?
Oh no, we just used it at shows and
Oh, okay.
a little bit of running around. But the kids over on that other door, they've broken this handle off.
Oh.
And I've got to take the door home and get it out.
That's just, yeah.
So, can you see in there?
Yep.
There's a hump there I put
Oh, I
in.
see, yep.
Well, under there was a Bedford S gearbox.
Wow.
And it's locked in third gear. Put in back to front, locked in third gear. There's the diff there on that one.
Oh, yep. Another little lump.
Yeah. And these seats I put in, they were an old bed somebody chucked in my dump, so I cut the rubber out of it and got the cover put on top, the vinyl.
Amazing.
Now, when you're driving, you can put that thing in four-wheel drive and you pull it out. Go down the road and you can put it in and pull it out. Because I got the same circumference on that as I've got in that with the gearbox. They told me I'd never find something with that ratio, and I found it in the gearbox.
Wow. No, you're amazing. You're one of these men that can sort of, make something out of a paper clip and
Yeah.
a piece of wire and a piece
you've
of string,
got
and yeah, absolutely.
And that was a knit cover off an International, same as the ones down the bottom.
Oh, okay,
We got it cut and stitched up again.
so that's off a US International
Yeah.
from the Navy. Yeah.
Yeah, down the bottom there.
Wow. So every tractor in here you've used at some stage in your life.
Oh, no, I haven't used them all.
Oh, okay.
No, that one we bought off a chap at Opanaki. That one there came from Waipukurau. The next one, a chap out of
Oh, okay.
Hara here, he'd gave up farming, so he gave me that one. And the Chamberlain, I've used that for tractor drives.
It's a very comfortable tractor.
Yeah, very noisy in the gearboxes though.
Oh, is it?
They are. Very noisy. They're all the same.
Plenty in Australia.
Oh yeah, you'd have plenty of them bigger ones.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the Perkins diesel one, that one.
Right. Low Gear's sponsor is ProTrans Earth Moving. They're a Christchurch-based company and specialise in earth moving and demolition. They also specialise in remote controlled diggers for those jobs that have an element of danger. And they have a variety of special purpose trucks that can get into those hard to get to places. So if you have an earth moving or demolition job, check out ProTrans at www.protrans.com. On the 4th of November, we'll be leaving from Auckland to begin our 2017 Low Gear bus tour. Come with Linda and me as we travel the North and South Islands of this beautiful country, looking at some of the vehicles and machines you've seen throughout our Talking Trucks and Low Gear TV shows. This is a 2-week vintage and classic adventure, and we conclude this tour on the 18th of November in Dunedin. So if you or someone you know would like the ultimate trip down memory lane, give me a call on 09 536 5327 or email me at billhohepa@extra.co.nz, and for registration and more information just go to our webpage at www.lowgear.co.nz. So we look forward to hearing from you very soon. So how many parts are on this truck? So you've got a bream gun carrier for the tracks,
Yeah.
and there is, what was the name
Lloyd Carrier.
of it? Lloyd Carrier tracks. Bedford's in there.
Yeah, and the Detroit's in there, V8 out of a Commodore Ute.
So it just looks like it might be something
Yeah.
from the war.
Yeah,
But that's as far
that's
as
all
it
I
goes.
wanted.
Yeah, good on you.
Yes, it's got 16-inch wheels on the front, whereas that other one down there, that's got 20-inch all round. And that one down there, we had no body for it. That was a workshop truck. And the body had been sold off when I got the truck, but it had a beautiful cab on it. That's what made me buy it. And I put a Unimog deck on it. I've done 2 of those.
So have you ever been an engineer? You've always been a farmer?
No, always self-taught,
Yeah, no.
self-help. This one here, this Dodge here, that belongs to a chap in Hastings Road. He only bought that a while back. He got that for 15 grand.
Wow.
And there was one in Hara here, a joker. He got all the bits off me when I cleaned the catchment commission out in Stratford. And he built that up. Well, he's wanting 40 grand for his one. It's all painted up nice like.
Ah, yeah.
Beautiful. He he reconditioned the motor and done all the diffs and drive shafts and transfer case.
So these trucks actually, you can start them up and drive them?
Oh, those ones there we could,
Right.
to here.
Yeah.
But that one, no, that motor's had it smoky. Well, I've had 2 Scammels. I've had 3 Valentine tanks. I've had a Covenanter tank. I've had 2 Daimler armoured cars.
Wow.
The last one I was keeping, the old man went and wrecked it.
And I'm amazed at how many people actually have a tank.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
sitting in
there's
their
a
shed.
few
Oh,
around.
shit, where did that come from? Bloody tank.
Yeah.
There's a bloke,
I've had tanks, you know. They're too expensive to shift
mile a gallon.
unless you drive them.
Yeah.
We had one with a hedge cutter on it there for a few years, but if you got onto a greasy paddock and you were going downhill and the track's filled up with mud, off you're away. You hang on for grim death.
Wow.
But no, the 6-wheel drive was the best of the lot for a cutter. I built that out of an old Leyland Hippo. And I got 2 refuelers from Ohakia. They were Leyland refuelers with 680 diesels in them. And one is now over in Paiatua. Old Paul Gleason over there's got it.
Oh, okay, yeah, we know Paul. Hi, Paul.
You know him, do you?
Yeah, very well.
Well, you ask him to show you the Leyland Hippo. Because when I got it, they'd taken the tanks off and all that on the back of them.
That's not a 6-wheel drive thing, is it?
Yeah, no, 6x4.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have seen that, yes. Sitting in one of his sheds.
Yellow.
It's a massive thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
quite
huge.
big.
Yeah.
He put a tray on it. He's got a tray sitting on the back of it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, once again, Bruce, thank you very, very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And yeah, you're amazing. You're amazing.